It's the 27th of April and it's, it's another stunking day. It's rain forecast. The headline in the newspaper this morning is Boris is back. I hope he can sort this mess out because they've worked their way into a real corner. They don't know what to do. I think they're fighting for their political lives. I think if they ease the lockdown and there's many more cases, I think they're terrified that that's going to be the end of their political life. But it's the only way out of this. And you can see with this good weather, people are just absolutely pig sick of it. And more people will begin to go out and enjoy this wonderful weather. And there'll be no stopping it. It'll be a sort of mass movement eventually. I mean, it's the worst possible thing for those who are trying to control this lockdown. I mean, it'd be far better if it was freezing cold and bucketing down with rain. No one would feel the urge to go out. But we've had 6 weeks of stunning weather here. We haven't had any rain at all. And the urge to go out will become greater and greater and greater. And once that dam is breached, there's no way the authorities will be able to stop it. In fact, the police seem to be very confused about what they're supposed to be doing. This is the second of 3 videos about how we can help the National Health Service whilst it's uppermost in our minds and hitting the news every day. The first in the series looked at fat people and what they can do. This is the second in the series and it looks at people like me, old people, and the problems we're going to bring to the NHS. I mean, the thing about growing old is there's nothing you can do about it. It's not like being fat, or that you could turn the clock back. It's like a chronic disease. The symptoms get worse and worse, and you know they're never going to get any better before you're carted off this mortal earth. How to help the National Health Service Part 2. Until 1948 there was no National Health Service. You had to pay the doctor, or if you went into hospital you had to pay them. And then there's a little quote from somebody later. That summer day back in 1948 must have seemed like quite a sea change when the booklet explaining more about the service dropped onto Teesside doormats. It brought an end to the worry of paying the doctor's bill, and hospitals on Teesside simply stopped charging for their services. Instead, the NHS was to be funded through taxation. Following on from the last video, sort of part 1 of how to help the National Health Service, which was on the 23rd of April, a greater threat to the National Health Service than fat people are old people. It's very ironic that on the one hand the health services have encouraged vaccination, healthy eating, exercise and stopping smoking, only to find that we are living much longer and huge numbers are suffering from long-lasting conditions which are costing an absolute mint to all concerned. And not only are there medical and care costs, there's also the cost of the state pensions. The annual cost of the state pension in today, which is 2020, is approaching £100 billion, even though we've got one of the worst state pensions in Europe. The retirement age has been lifted to 66 for both men and women, and there's going to be no further review until 2028. It was calculated that our contributions would pay for our pension for 16 years, after which we would be sort of in profit. The break-even age would be about 80 years. The average age is no more than that. In the 1950s and 60s, many men worked in heavy and polluted industries. Even if they reached the retirement age of 65, most were lucky to see their early 70s through no fault of their own. Dementia, in all its manifestations, was almost unknown. as most didn't live long enough to suffer from it. This 2019 report by Age UK lays out the consequence of old age, that is 65 plus, in pretty stark detail, especially the demands on the NHS. Now, it's a very detailed document, but just picking out a few statistics. This is about population numbers and the projections, the ongoing projections. I'll just let you read that there. Basically, the population is getting older. The numbers of people who are living longer is increasing. That's a staggering statistic. The number of centenarians, that's people over 100 years of age, has increased by 85% in the past 15 years. And by 2030, it's reckoned that there will be over 21,000 people who are over 100. By 2030, 1 in 5 people in the United Kingdom will be 65 or over. And the 85 plus age group is the fastest growing and is set to double to 3.2 million by mid-2041 and to treble by 2066. That's a huge number. I mean, given that health deteriorates as we become older, it doesn't require much imagination to conclude that the cost to the National Health Service and society will be enormous. I mean, no one has grasped this nettle yet, but it will have to be done. And given the huge costs of the COVID-19 epidemic, the outlook doesn't look very good, to put it mildly. Here's just one example. 850,000 people currently have dementia, and it's forecast to rise to 2 million by 2051. Dementia currently costs the United Kingdom about £26 billion a year. Now, on the upside for the National Health Service, as my generation, the sort of baby boomers, the bulge after the war, as we die off, the rate of population increase will begin to slow down, will decrease. But as a result of the current COVID-19 lockdown, I suspect the next national health crisis will be in maternity services early in 2021. Callous though it may seem, even to consider it, the best solution for the state is if we drop dead on the day we retire. Sort of paid all in, took out and didn't make any big calls on the National Health Service. Anyway, help the National Health Service. Don't live too long. So from glorious Yorkshire, it's time to go for a walk out. Find some river somewhere, just have a wander along the banks and take in the glorious countryside. At this time of year, it's amazing, absolutely fantastic. And see if there's any big fish rising, which I should have been casting a partridge in orange at. I'm not sure it's a good idea, but there we are. Anyway, be safe, take care, and I'll see you again. Bye-bye.